They had it all. Matching khakis and polo shirts, smooth, shiny skin, perma-grins, the admiration of everyone in their church, and prosperity. Lots of prosperity. They called themselves Manna from Heaven, and will chronicle their meteoric rise from a small Dutch Reformed church in Zeeland, Michigan, to the bright lights and stardom of River Grove Woodland Pines Seekers Chapel in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Along the way were potluck dinners, retreats, a Christian book overdose, and a brief brush with reality.
Yeah, I really thought we had it all. One year we're playing Shout to the Lord at junior high youth group retreats. The next year, we're filling the 10,000-seat River Grove Woodland Pine Seeker Chapel. We were truly blessed.
For a while I was happy just playing my acoustic guitar at Calvin College storm mixers and small churches.
Scott had always hinted that he wanted to be my brother in Christ. And that was great because we'd both kissed dating goodbye. And I was comfortable with that in terms of our goals as a band.
But then Manna got big.
I knew the first time I saw Manna that I could make them big. I could see that worship was going to be the next big trend. So I went up to them and I said, "Baby, you're not thinking like stars. You deserve to be in the River Grove Woodland Pines Seekers Chapel, and I can help you get there." They were living in this cultural ghetto of the Reformed Church. I explained to them that they needed to engage in the culture around them. Part of their problem was that they weren't witnessing to other churchgoers. They needed to talk to the evangelicals, the Baptists, and even the Lutherans. Once they saw that this was part of God's vision, they were completely on board.
The band, it seems, had struck it rich, in only the most spiritual sense. They road-tripped in a Plymouth Voyager to Nashville to record their first CD, Blessings Aplenty, an album which would eventually go platinum.
Yeah, this band was hot, honestly. They had a real symbiotic yin and yang kind of relationship. There were groupies.
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 You know, you see Scott on stage and you think he's all like conservative and stuff, but I've heard that in real life, he's actually more conservative.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah, well, I've seen him driving an Oldsmobile, and I heard he paid cash for it. It's a Cutlass.
A
It
what?
is. Oh, a Cutlass?
It's like a type of Oldsmobile?
Oh. I'd court him.
Yeah.
There he is! Scott! Oh, my goodness!
You know, there wasn't a megachurch amphitheater or a youth camp auditorium that these kids couldn't fill. But then they lost their edge. When you lose your edge in this business, it's over.
Everything was going so great until Evan confronted Scott in love at a potluck. I was having cream mushroom-based soup at the time.
To be honest, and this is hard, Scott began struggling with pride. It started when his Campus Crusade background started to collide with my history with the Navigators. And then there was the incident at the River Grove potluck. And believe me, it was an incident. Oh, you got a problem with books? Oh, all right. Basically what happened was, I confronted Scott about his out-of-control addiction to Christian resources. I mean, he basically burned through the proceeds from our first CD, Blessings Aplenty. He was spending $2,000 or $3,000 a month on Christian books and videos. It was nuts. He became thin, quiet, withdrawn, and then his performing began to suffer.
Manna soldiered on, however, recording 2 more albums, God's Will for Your Life and Yahweh Needs a New Pair of Shoes. But the magic was gone, even if the fans didn't notice.
Dude, Manna rocked. I've been on tour with some of the biggest names in the industry. Acoustic Apostles, Thunder of the Lord, and even Carmen. All I can say is, in a worship off, whoa man, my money's on Manna. Hands up.
Yeah, Yahweh was a good seller for us. But by the time we cut God is not a 4-letter word, Scott was a mess. I was calling him on his cell phone 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day, bringing him briefcases full of Christian resources backstage. Guy was a wreck. Finally, I just said, look, I don't need this. I got an offer to produce Carmen's 43rd album to the tune of about 6 figures, and I felt God's call to go ahead and take the money.
One time, Scott stopped smiling on stage, and we were confronted in love by Pastor. It was a real growing experience, but it hurt. It really did.
It sucked. Can I say that on cable?
Meanwhile, Scott, driven by his addiction to Christian self-help literature, was forced to build a 10,000-square-foot home in Walker, a suburb of Grand Rapids, to accommodate his growing collection of books.
Life was carefree. We'd never had it so good. Scott and I both considered courting Laura, but then both of us had kissed dating goodbye. It was great. It was just like youth group, except we were all blessed with big houses, Oldsmobile Aleros, 9-hole golf courses, sparkling grape juice. It was the best of times.
The lifestyle was decadent, I won't lie to you. There were potlucks. Young reformed girls clamoring for autographs. Mentions in church bulletins. I had many opportunities to, shall we say, go to coffee with young women. Well, I abstained, of course.
And then Laura dropped a bomb on Manna from heaven.
She started dating. Dating a local sheet metal salesman. He's not even reformed. He goes to some Baptist hole-in-the-wall downtown. We were devastated. They don't even have stadium seating down there. They have pews and an organ.
Let's just say our music began to suffer.
Manna from heaven was coming apart at the seams.
Laura totally missed a show. A service. And then she asked for several services, off in a row. And then Evan started dabbling in hymns and traditional styles of worship. The last straw came. We found out that Evan's last name isn't even Van Til. It's Dershowitz. He's not even Dutch.
I'm not proud of that. It was a dark, dark time for me.
He began to fingerpick. Then I caught him playing Stairway to Heaven backstage during makeup one Sunday. He gave his Alero to a secular charity. And then he bought a foreign economy car. Normally, we say a little prayer in the huddle before we enter the arena. The sanctuary. And we put our hands together like this, and in unison say, "It's magic time." It's magic time. We stopped doing that after a while, and that was basically the end.
For all practical purposes, magic time was over, and so was Manna from heaven. Now, Manna is trying to put the pieces back together.
I'm doing some writing now. I was up till 11 o'clock the other night, just getting something out of my head. I do a lot of poetry, things like Wild Horses and Love Pouring Down Like Rain. I bought a cat. I'm in a Queensryche tribute band. We play Spanky's Motor Lodge out on Route 70. It's not Manna, but it's a paycheck,
Gosh, I sure don't miss the long weeks on the road. Places like Van Wert, Ohio, and Frankenmuth, Michigan. The crowds in Frankenmuth? Brutal.
I've basically been book-free for 7 weeks now. It's one day at a time. I can drive by a Christian resource center and not stop in. It's really tough, But recovery always is. I'm filling my time with lots of golf and mochas and prayer, of course. Honestly, I haven't picked up my guitar in 6 months. It's just way too hard.
I married a sheet metal salesman. His name's Ed Kolosinski, and he loves J.D. Salinger and long walks on the beach and Robert Altman films. Scott wrote me a memo about getting Manna back together for a reunion album. I don't know, I haven't really thought about it. My life's so full now. We're going to this great little church downtown. It's wonderful. I'm playing the organ, and Ed sings in the choir. There's nothing wrong with the organ, you know.
Yeah, there's been interest from a few churches in towns like Ludington, Harbor Springs, and Holland. It's nice. I mean, I won't lie to you, I love the attention. But it's nice to actually be able to go to church and listen to what the pastor has to say instead of having to run backstage and vomit from show business nerves. I've basically run out of money, but I'm getting along. I mean, you can be a Christian without a lot of money, right? Right?
I don't miss it either. I really don't. You know, the praise band lifestyle will kill you. Slowly. Painfully. I was cleaning out my library the other day. I came across this. Good book, actually. It's got a lot of truth in here. Better than the others and really worth reading. I think I'm going to hang on to this one.
There were groupies.
Groupies.
There we go. I got it.
All right, I'm on board now.
I never go to coffee with any girls. Groupies.
Groupies.
That was good.
There were groupies.
Groupies.
Groupie.
All right.
Groupies.
There he is! Scott! Oh my goodness!
Groupies?
Groupies. Groupies, groupies, groupies. Groupies!